How do you run against Hillary? You don't do it the way Bernie Sanders has done it, which is Marcus of Queensberry boxing rules, where he has refrained from even mentioning the word Benghazi, only discussed emails to let her off the hook and say, we don't give a damn about your emails, and only spoke about her speaking fees in the context of a generic conflict of interest with Wall Street, rather than honing in on very specific favors for very specific entities and governments. The way you have to run against Hillary is like a prosecutor. You have to go after her bit by bit, scandal by scandal, speech by speech, fee by fee, and really pin her to the mat. Because the way you get Hillary to lie, which she will constantly, is to force her to defend her actions. And when forced to defend her actions ad lib, she makes stuff up, she gets tripped up, she gets forced into a corner, and she ends up contradicting herself 10 different ways. Also, her staff will never grill her before she goes out there about these scandals, because she'll rip their head off. They're scared to death of her. And there are very few people, if any, who can really walk in and tell her the truth. And so that she'll go out there without being adequately defensed, for example, on the uranium issue. I won't go into the details, but it's in Schweiker's book, where Frank Giustra, who's the largest donor to the foundation, had a uranium company. The Russians took it over, and they asked for permission to take over mines in the United States. And ultimately, Russia now controls 20% of our uranium production, and it had to be approved by the State Department. Hillary approved it, and Bill gave 2 speeches in Moscow for a combined fee of $1 million, right about the same time that the approval was given. You got to take these facts and really go after her on this stuff, on that speech and every other speech that she's done, all involving serious, direct, one-on-one conflicts of interest and possible bribery situations. And she won't be prepped for that. And if you go after her and really pin her down on that, she's going to look terrible, particularly if Trump is our nominee. We cannot let this election be about Donald Trump, because we know that he has a 75% unfavorable rating among women and 65 among both genders. Hillary is about 10 points less, 55. But if you make the election about Trump, if he's the nominee, we're going to lose. But if we can make the election about Hillary, we're going to win. And the way to do that is to be prosecutorial, accusatory, and very specific in the way you go after her. And there'll be a lot to work with. There'll be the Benghazi Commission report, that is the committee, and there'll be the FBI report, which will be gathering dust in the Justice Department, but will leak out and will be something we can use in the campaign. So you have to make integrity the issue. You have to make Hillary's lack of integrity the issue. Hillary will try to hide behind the generic. She always does. The issue isn't, are you going to vote for me? The issue is, you're going to vote for a woman, or the first woman president. Or are you going to defend women in general against the attacks on them by my opponent? Those will be her lines of defense. But you have to penetrate through that and say the issue isn't any of that. The issue is the woman we're talking about, Hillary Clinton. And you have to go back over her scandals, talk about the China that left the White House, so not just the one that exploits us in trade, but the kind you eat off. Go back and talk about the pardons that were given to the clients of her brothers when Bill Clinton left office. Go back into that stuff and really hold her accountable, probably for the first time. That's how you've got to do it. And I think either Trump or Cruz could do that. Trump very effectively, Cruz effectively. He's a prosecutor after all. And I think that that's the way you beat her. So let's both work on that. Happy hunting. Now, I did a podcast, you can access it adjacent to this video, that goes into much greater detail on how to beat Hillary and explores 2 other topics. One is Obama's relationship with the Saudis, which really goes to how he financed his college. There's significant evidence that the Saudis paid for his tuition at Harvard Law School and maybe at college too. And that really could explain how he is coddling the Saudi monarchy by probably vetoing the bill to let the families sue them. So have a listen. It's a good podcast. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening.